In Greek mythology, Pandora was given a box and told not to open it. August 6th, 1945. First atomic bomb, Little Boy, was dropped from the Enola Gay onto Hiroshima, Japan. 3 days later, August 9th, Batman was dropped on Nagasaki. A neutron splits off an atom. If it strikes another atom, it splits more neutrons off. This is called radioactive decay. In its natural configuration, this process results in radiation. However, if you bring these atoms close together, the neutrons begin colliding with atoms like balls on a billiards table, creating what's called a cascading effect. In an atomic bomb, engineers use shaped explosives to compress a core, causing a cascading effect which results in the core going what's called prompt critical. The combined energy of the atoms splitting off causes a fission explosions, like the ones detonated at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. There is a second method to create a cascading effect. Normally, during radioactive decay, neutrons fly off. However, if you place a reflective material nearby, like tungsten carbide or beryllium, the neutrons are reflected. Place enough reflective material nearby, and the core will go prompt critical. At the Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico, criticality experiments, described as tickling the tail of a sleeping dragon, were underway. August 21st, 1945, less than 1 week after Japan's surrender, Harry Daghlian Jr. was working with fellow scientists, placing tungsten carbide bricks in different configurations around a 13.7-pound sphere of plutonium. According to historical records, the name Demon was chosen by physicist Raymer Schreiber. As we know now, this is a morbidly accurate name for the core. Daghlian completed the day of work. Something made him curious, though. He returned that night without other scientists. He began placing the bricks until his Geiger counter-like device told him the core was about to go prompt critical. As he removed the final brick, it slipped out of his hand. The brick landed on the core, and in an instant, Daghlian was blasted by Cherenkov radiation, often described as a heavenly blue glow, dosing him with 5.1 sieverts of radiation. The lethal dosage is between 4 to 5 sieverts. He slapped the brick down off of the core and went to the hospital. 9 days after his accident, the skin on his hand blistered and sloughed off. As he lay in the hospital, his friend, fellow scientist Louis Slotin, would spend hours comforting him while he lay in the hospital bed. Just 25 days after his accident, on September 15th, 1945, Harry Daghlian Jr. was the first American casualty of the atomic age. Slotin returned to his work and soon was in charge of the criticality experiments. He took over from Otto Frisch. Slotin was known around the Los Alamos labs, sporting his jeans and cowboy boots. More well known was his brazen attitude. You see, the experiments had changed. Rather than placing tungsten carbide bricks around the demon core, scientists were now using 2 halves of a beryllium sphere. By placing spacers, they could safely lower the top over the core, getting closer by placing smaller and smaller spacers in between. Slotin, however, in his usual brazen manner, would lower the top half of the sphere with his bare hand, preventing the top from enclosing over the core entirely with the head of a flat blade screwdriver. His method did not go unnoticed. Fellow scientist Enrico Fermi told Slotin, quote, "Keep doing the experiment that way. You'll be dead within a year." Slotin drove on, conducting his screwdriver experiment multiple times over the next few months. He had become disillusioned with the whole criticality experiments and was training up a replacement. May 21st, 1946. The last day the demon core was going to be experimented on. Slotin was demonstrating the experiment, lowering the top half of the sphere with his bare hand, holding it open with the screwdriver. For reasons unknown, the screwdriver slipped, and in that fraction of a second, The heavenly blue glow filled the room. Slotin reacted quickly, removing the top half of the beryllium sphere. The other men present, once they had registered what had happened, fled the room. Slotin yelled at them to get back. He gave them chalk and told them to mark their positions exactly. Slotin's first words after were reportedly, "Well, that does it." Using the positions of each person in the room, they were able to calculate how much radiation each man had absorbed, and with that information, how much time they had lost. Slotin had received over 21 sieverts of radiation. He was transported to the nearby hospital, where he was treated by the same nurse who had tended to Harry Doglian Jr. 9 days later, on May 30th, 1946, Slotin succumbed to the Demon Core, becoming the second American casualty of the atomic age. The Demon Core was melted down and redistributed to the rest of the US's atomic stockpile. Doglian and Slotin's bodies were studied. The research gained helped pave the way in understanding the effects of radiation on the body. What we now know is the particles of radiation rip through the cells and DNA, smashing them beyond belief. When enough damage is done, the symptoms manifest as everything from vomiting and diarrhea, all the way to confusion, muscle spasms, and complete loss of motor control. The first two American casualties of the atomic age left an undeniable mark on the science as a whole. If you'd like to know more, check out the reports I've linked down below. Take care of yourselves.